The first instrument of sovereignty is currency. You cannot be sovereign if someone else is minting your currency. It's clear that we are not going to stay in this CFA affair. Even France knows it. I'm not saying tomorrow or the day after. You cannot be in the AES and accept that the printing press is in France. The printing press being in France is impossible. We have been led to believe that we are not capable of putting a currency into circulation, but there are countries that have done it alone.
So welcome back to the WSX and so on. So the AES Alliance foreign ministers all went to Russia to meet Sergei, and they kept a meeting. But then after the meeting, Niger Foreign Minister Bakari, he did an interview in Russia. And in this interview, he explained why the AES Alliance left the ECOWAS, why they will never join the ECOWAS again. Talk about misinformation and the new currency that they will be making, and move away from the CFA franc, from the French currency. They will be going to have their own currency. So let's take a listen to this interview. It's a very informative interview. So thank me later, but take a listen and let me know what you think about this in the comment section as well.
Today we welcome the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Niger, Mr. Bakari Yaou Sangare. Mr. Bakari, hello. Hello. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation. We are currently in Moscow, the Russian capital. What is the purpose of your visit to Russia?
First of all, I would like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to explain the purpose of our visit, of our stay in Moscow, and possibly to review the cooperation with Russia, which is a strategic partner for Niger. You are well aware that the countries Niger, Mali, Burkina, they have left ECOWAS. They have exited ECOWAS. And when we left ECOWAS, we created our own confederation. It was initially an alliance, and then it quickly transformed into a confederation. It is built on the similarity of the situations we share. These are three countries that have the same environmental realities and which, due to a political situation, found themselves in similar circumstances. We had an organization called the Aliens and the Authority of Lutaku Gurma. It is this authority that we transformed into an alliance by adding the diplomatic aspect, because Lutaku Gurma was essentially about development and security. Initially, it was about development, then security. We added diplomacy to make, and the confederation, the alliance, and then after the confederation, which was created on July 6, 2024, about less than a year ago, approximately 8 months. Russia is an important partner for us, with which each of the countries individually maintains a bilateral relationship. And there, we have reached another point, another aspect, another level of our cooperation. It is about establishing cooperation between the AES Confederation and the Russian Confederation. So it is within this framework that we have come together. This is the first meeting of the foreign ministers of the Russian Confederation and the AES Confederation, which has been institutionalized. It is the first meeting, and then following this meeting, we decided that it should be held every year alternately in Moscow and in one of the AES capitals. So it is within the framework, establishment of this cooperation between the AES Confederation and the Russian Confederation that we are staying in Moscow.
Your meeting with Sergei Lavrov, the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, was, as you have already said, the first meeting in the Russia-AES Confederation format. How did this meeting go today? Very well.
The meeting went very well. It met our expectations. We didn't have any concerns anyway. No worries. We knew it was going to go well, because Russia is a partner we already know from a bilateral perspective. And another thing, when we created the AES, it was the first country that a week later recognized the Confederation. I'm the very first to recognize this Confederation. He marked Russia. It showed its willingness to cooperate, to help us, because it is convinced of the righteousness of our confederation. It is convinced that what we have done, I mean, the countries of the AES, this is what we had to do to get out first from underdevelopment, and then to break free from the grip of the former colonial powers that have kept us in the situation we are in. For all this time, we are convinced that with Russia by our side, we will achieve wonders. So there you have it. It's at the outcome of the meeting, everything we hoped for, and we got it one way or another. Because what needs to be understood is that it's not a one-way cooperation, it's a balanced cooperation. It's cooperation in both directions. And for us, our principles are, firstly, that the country respects our sovereignty, which Russia does, that we treat each other as equals, which we do with Russia, on a bilateral level, and which obviously extends to the multilateral level, and that our rights are recognized. Where our sovereignty is found within an organization, whatever it may be, and in this specific case that we are recognized the right to be part of a confederation, which is the case with Russia. So following the meeting, Russia expressed its willingness to support us and to help us to achieve the objectives set for us, because this confederation, its backbone is security. First of all, it must be said that our three countries have come together. It's true, there were diplomatic contingencies present, but we came together. The main hidden motive that brought us together was security. We have been since 2011 in a situation that was desired, created, and maintained by Western powers. We decided to take our destiny into our own hands. Russia was there by our side. Today, we met in Troyes to form the confederation. The backbone, as I was saying, is security. And the motive also essential, for which, as a trio, we are with Russia, is also security. From a bilateral perspective, each of our countries has its cooperation with Russia, which goes beyond the security aspect, but from a confederal perspective, the essential point, the proof, the convergence of views that guided us to move towards Russia is the security aspect. And now, and coming out of this meeting, we are considering going beyond the security aspect. It's not just about security. It's true, there is no development without security, but it is necessary that other aspects are also considered. Because the Confederation is built on three pillars, there is defense and security, which is the main motive for which we are with the Confederation of Russia. There is the development aspect. We have an ambitious development program for our countries with the AES, the Confederation with Russia, and the diplomatic aspect, which involves coordinating our actions, to coordinate our viewpoints on the questions on international current affairs issues, major issues, and for the moment it's working very well. We have perfect coordination at the level of the Confederation, within the Confederation first, and then with Russia afterwards.
What is Niger's position on the relations between the AES Confederation and ECOWAS?
Niger's position is that we have left ECOWAS because we believed, and we currently believe we are in this situation. We are convinced that ECOWAS no longer meets the objectives for which it was created. It was a community of integration. Its purpose was, instead of integrating, it was disintegrating. The respective president was a founding member of ECOWAS. They know why they created ECOWAS. If we left ECOWAS, it's because we have observed that ECOWAS is being parasitized. ECOWAS is being remotely controlled by Western powers. And from the moment we are at odds with these powers, it can only be against us. We tried everything. Don't think we just left ECOWAS like that. We tried everything to stay within ECOWAS, to reconcile with ECOWAS. But in the end, we realized that it was not possible. It was a lost cause because ECOWAS was being remotely controlled, and what was controlling it had an agenda that was to ensure that the regimes in the respective countries fall immediately, or in any case last as short a time as possible. So, from the moment we understood that the very objective of ECOWAS, if I start to elaborate for you, the different stages of negotiation with ECOWAS, maybe we would still be here tomorrow morning. It was very laborious and very painful for us. We did not leave ECOWAS out of heart, out of joy, but in the end, we resolved. It was a political decision we made, and we took responsibility for it. So currently, we have no animosity against ECOWAS. We have ECOWAS countries that are neighboring countries with which we have very good relations. And even within ECOWAS, when ECOWAS imposed sanctions against us, a total embargo, total against Niger, it was unimaginable, it was inhumane. What they did to Niger. Niger is a landlocked country. The three countries are two landlocked countries. They imposed on us the total embargo. Even pharmaceutical products were not entering Niger. The electricity that was supplied to us from Nigeria was cut off without warning. We lost human lives because of this sanction. But in every cloud, there is a silver lining. It allowed us to open our eyes and become aware of our strength and to build our resilience. So we hold no animosity. We are in a process of normalizing our relationship with ECOWAS. The president of the commission wrote to us to invite us to a negotiation because they are now convinced that our departure from ECOWAS is irreversible. So, subtitling ST501, we will go to the negotiations. The presidency of AES is leading these negotiations, and we are going with a very conciliatory spirit. We do not want any problems. We are not countries with problems. We have never wanted problems, whether for stronger reasons or for countries. Africans to neighboring countries. What we wish for this country is prosperity. If they think the happiness lies in ECOWAS, that's even better. But we think that the other is not there and that we are better within the AES. So our relations are good. I can say it like that. And we think there will be no particular difficulties in the negotiation we will have.
You haven't yet seen their reaction, ECOWAS's reaction to your visit to Russia, the negotiations with Sergei Lavrov. They haven't reacted yet.
We haven't been interested in that because, in fact, we don't want to waste time. That's their problem. What they think of our relationship with Russia, we know what we are doing with Russia. Whatever their assessment may be, it doesn't concern us. We know most Western countries, the view they have on this relationship. And we know what they think, but we are smart too. We know where it is. Our interest lies in a good expression, we say, I know where my head hurts. So we know exactly what we want. We will not let ourselves be distracted. We have come a long way with Russia, and so far, everything is going well, and we think the best is yet to come. Yes.
Does every cloud has a silver lining?
Every cloud has a silver lining indeed, because as you say, it opened our eyes, it made us aware. When I know a man, that we underestimated ourselves. Because we were a landlocked country, we thought that being landlocked was a handicap, but we are going to turn it into an advantage, and they will see that being landlocked is not a disadvantage, and you know, God is not unjust. If he makes you landlocked, he gives you something else. All those countries, not a single one among them has the wealth that we have. They know it. And if today our populations have not benefited from these riches, it's precisely because we have remained to go under the control of the Westerners who, at the very least, didn't even want us to know what our subsoil contains. But today we are aware we don't have, how should we say this? We don't have a complex towards these people. It wasn't the years of independence where you had intellectuals, we didn't have any. We attended the same schools as these people. They know us. They are not better than us. We are not a Buddha to him in terms of intelligence. Today we have the capabilities. From where? To enhance the resources so that they benefit our populations. Because that's it. The goal. The goal is that these resources now benefit our populations. It's unjust that countries like Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, that people die for lack of an aspirin, or that we have to reach out to treat malaria. This is not normal. I was saying earlier that the Nigerian cut off our electricity. We have 5 sources of energy. We have the sun, we have water, we have wind, we have uranium, we have oil, but we were producing barely 20% of our electricity capacity. And all this why? We knew it wasn't right to outsource our energy independence, but we did it. If today our economic sector is undeveloped, it's because there is no electricity. No one will come to invest where there is no electricity, because everything today is done with electricity. Electricity, I stayed in France, it costs 10 times or even more, or even less, more expensive than in Côte d'Ivoire. Electricity in France is next to nothing. But people here in Niger, half of their salary goes into paying the salaries. You have to go see how many villages in Niger have electricity, how many towns have electricity, and it's not normal. This is not beyond our capabilities. So it's all these things that we have tried, that we are determined to solve for the benefit of our people. We are going to surprise people. That's actually the relationship we have between. In summary, we don't have any particular problem with ECOWAS. These are brotherly countries, friendly countries with which we are ready to continue our cooperation under conditions that respect us.
What is Niger's position on the admission of new members to the Confederation? AES? It can happen one day, yes, it can happen.
We have planned for that. We did not create the AES to keep it just among us. 3, we have planned for the arrival of new members, but under certain conditions. And you know why? Simply because we don't want to be infiltrated. Because those countries that hold a grudge against us, the Western countries that want to destabilize us immediately, they have tried by all means. So far, thank God it hasn't worked. But they haven't given up, we know. They can arrange for countries to join just to sabotage our alliance. So we have membership conditions. First of all, yes, the first condition is that you must first acknowledge, because you cannot be in a confederation if you do not share this ideal. And the second thing is that we must be certain that the country, among other things, on the condition that the country is not under Western influence and would not join just to distract us, to break up our alliance. In reality, if you look, these are not countries that are ineligible for AES. These are regimes that are ineligible. All African countries, a sincere African, cannot be against what AES is doing, because they know it is a just fight. A fight that every African must undertake. So every African must undertake. So we know there are regimes that are hostile to us, but the people are not. I don't want to name countries that will recognize themselves, but they themselves know, these regimes know that the people do not agree with what they are doing against AES. The people are rather with AES. There are countries that are already trying to woo us, that want to come towards us. And there are even some that have taken the step, that have asked to be observer members. So this is to say that it reassures us in our position. Okay, at one point we were led to believe it was just a flash in the pan. And even the CDO believed it like that. That's why they are asking us to come back, because they thought we created the AES because of the embargo. So they lift the embargo and we will return. That's not it. It's that it's deeper. And it's a shame they don't understand that it's deeper, that they are not on the right path, on the path of the founding fears. It's a shame they don't realize it or don't want to realize it. They know, but they pretend not to know. Go see the people who were lecturing us when there was a regime change in our country. They kicked out ECOWAS Just recently, when ECOWAS sent a delegation to negotiate, the champions who were lecturing us, they kicked out ECOWAS. So this is to say that for us, it's not that it reassures us. We are sure of what we are doing. So we have no doubt about the struggle we are engaged in. And the harder it gets, the more we tell ourselves that we are on the right path. Because in any case, freedom, no one will offer it to you on a silver platter. There is a price to pay. This is what our people are currently experiencing in their flesh. What they have experienced and what they continue to experience is the price to pay. Maybe not us, but our children, maybe our children. In any case, someone, a generation must sacrifice itself for the generations to come, and that's what we are doing. Otherwise, if you look at most of the people who are there, I am talking about my country. These are people who are at the end of their rope. They are people of a certain age. We don't have much of, as we say in our country, in life, you don't turn 60 twice. Most of us are over 60 years old. We won't have 60 years of duty. What we are doing is not for us, it's for our children. It's for the good of our children. And we are convinced that what we are doing is what we must do.
Interesting what you are saying.
Of course.
The financial sector, it's no secret that the AES Confederation is under pressure from the West and also ECOWAS. Are there already successes we can talk about in the financial sector of the Confederation?
The first instrument of sovereignty, because our struggle is built around sovereignty, the first instrument of sovereignty is currency. You cannot be sovereign if someone else is minting your currency. It's clear that we are not going to stay in this CFA affair. Even France knows it. I'm not saying tomorrow or the day after. You cannot be in the AES and accept that the printing press is in France. The printing press being in France is impossible. We have been led to believe that we are not capable of putting a currency into circulation, but there are countries that have done it alone. The longer we wait, the less we will be able to do it. We know that our sovereignty begins with minting our own currency, and we are going to do it. We have endured sanctions. That's exactly that reassures us, that motivates us to move towards having our own currency. I'm not saying that right away tomorrow or the day after, but what ECOWAS, the Central Bank of West African States, and the UMOA have done to us is downright unfair. I can understand if I have issues with you and you say, well, you won't have my money anymore, but the money I gave you to keep, you cannot refuse to give it back to me. And that's what happened. The money, our money that we had in the Central Bank of African States was withheld from us for 8 months simply because France gave directives. And they have done everything to disrupt the banking sector in Niger. They have done everything to put people in difficult situations. You have money, you go to the bank, you can't withdraw because the bank has no liquidity. Why does the bank have no liquidity? Because the central bank has placed an embargo on our own money, on our own assets. So all this encourages us to move towards our own currency. We are going to do it, that's clear. I'm not saying tomorrow or the day after because it requires organization. And there we need support from countries like Russia because Russia, but countries like it, Russia will play an important role in the circulation of our currency. In any case, the current system that is in place is unfavorable to us. And we know that as long as we stay in it, as long as we remain in it, there is no way to develop. And we will do everything to ensure it is not. We have done the most difficult part. We have done more difficult things than leaving ECOWAS. We were part of the French army, we were part of the American army. I think that is more difficult than leaving from an organization like the IMOA. We left from CADAO. ECOWAS is more extensive than the IMOA. There was much more involvement for us. But it's a political decision, A political decision, when you make it, you have to take responsibility. So we made it with ECOWAS, we took responsibility. And with the UMOA, we are not discussing it at the moment, but we will. I believe that even France, even the UMOA knows it. There is no way we can stay as long as we are AES, that we stay. The only way to prevent us from leaving ECOWAS and UMOA is to remove us from AES. And I don't see a way to remove us from AES at the moment. In any case, I don't see the reason. I don't see the reason. It is a sovereign right for the countries and for the moment, whether people like it or not. It is Niger's political choice. Whoever is not happy, they just have to not be happy. But for us, it's our choice. And for the moment, this is what the current political authorities that we are have decided. Whether it's in Niger, in Mali, or in Burkina.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.